Howdy ho, guys and gals. It's your friendly neighborhood tool bear. Let's see if we can adjust things a bit here today. There we go. How's everyone doing today? Sorry, we had to move the old live stream back a bit. The oldest cub had a football practice today, or tryouts actually, second day of tryouts. So, you know, Papa Bear had to be there, make sure everything went okay. Let's see what we got here. Joshua, which Craftsman mobile toolkit in the red plastic case do you recommend? Honestly, I have no idea. I haven't looked at Craftsman hand tools in, it's probably been a year since I've really looked at them. It's been hard to justify buying some Craftsman tools because of a couple things. A, they're no longer the only option when it comes to buying hand tools with a lifetime warranty. And on top of it, there's been a lot of issues with people trying to return stuff to some Sears stores, and Sears associates basically trying to say, well, you need to have your sales receipt and you need to have it signed, notarized by your mother and all this other stuff. And corporates come out and said, well, no, that's not the policy or anything like that. But I've heard stories from sales managers saying that they're getting dinged on how many returns they get, or how, basically a secret, quota of returns that are allowed. And as such, when it comes to those kind of hand tools, I've been buying them from Harbor Freight because they work well enough, and Harbor Freight doesn't, give me any gruff when I return them. You're thinking of the 164 to 300 piece in the red case. I have very seldom heard of I would say I've very seldom heard of a Harbor Freight tool breaking any more than I've heard of a Craftsman tool break. Is the quality of steel as good? Probably not, but it's so close that it's not like they're making them out of aluminum and Craftsman's using hardened steel. The quality of Craftsman has really dropped in the past decade. They've had to, make money, and the way they do that is by reducing the quality of the tools. I've got some vintage Craftsman tools, and when you look at those compared to the newer stuff, there's no comparison. So, MC Trek, I'm retired. How many tools do I need? Well, that, as we all know, that's a trick question. There's never enough tools. Yeah, the Harbor Freight ratchets are great. I get the Pittsburgh Pro quality ones. They get a little more features and they fit my paw better, but I've never had a problem with any of them. I've never broken a Harbor Freight hand tool. Not like a wrench or anything like that. I've broken other stuff, but which kid? Everyone. Okay, if you watch the channel, you probably know I'm not a big fan of kits. I like buying the tools that I like. I don't like the basic ratchets, so I'm always buying the higher end ratchet. I'm not the person to ask for. Let me say this: most of the guys on the channel, they really like that 300 piece kit. That's the one they go with. It's not my choice because I'm just not a kit kind of guy. I like to piecemeal things. I like to, nitpick about stuff. Yeah, too many tools like having too many. It's like, how much ammo is enough? There's never enough. Osh is closing. Yeah, that was really weird. So for those of you who don't know, Osh, that's Orchard Supply Hardware, they got bought a few years back by Lowe's. And Lowe's has decided they're going to be closing 200 of those stores down But the thing is, Lowe's just came out and they just released their numbers and they're killing it. They had 5% growth, but apparently that's not good enough because Home Depot had 8% growth. In fact, I was thinking about doing a video on how hardware stores are on fire. They just all released numbers, and Lowe's and Home Depot and Ace, they're all just killing it. It's a huge industry, or it's a huge gain in the industry right now for all the power tool lines. Everyone's making money hand over fist. So it seems really weird to see that Lowe's is not only closing the Osh stores, but they're also going to be reducing a lot of the lines of product that they carry. Probably because they brought in a CEO from Target. They brought in a CEO from Target and a CFO from CVS. Not exactly if I would want the people I'd want to pick for running somebody like Lowe's. Lowe's is supposed to be, to me, a little more high-end, a little more home owner-centric, and less discount, which is what Target and CVS are. Any thoughts on extension ladder for painting the house? How about safety extras? Yeah, if you can get one of the ladders that has the extensions, that make it wider at the top, so you have less issues. Right now we use one of those little giant ladders but our last house was a single story, so go figure. When I did construction, I would run a ladder up, and I would find, but that was construction because we tie it off. We tie the top of the ladder off. But we usually had a stud or a window we could pass it through or something. New product alert from their new what do you call it, the impact wrench, the new corded impact wrench. Is this still live? Am I? Well, I'm kind of animated, but if you ask anybody, I'm always kind of animated. The black Onyx inside socket. Yeah, those the deep wall Sonics, the deep wall sockets. Those are great. Yeah, the 300 piece kit, it goes on sale almost every month. It's almost always on sale when I look at it. And I do believe that you can use the 20 or 25% off coupons on it as well. So even if it's not on sale, if you can scrounge up one of those coupons. And remember, Harbor Freight allows you to use coupons with your phone. So you can just pull up the image on your phone. And that's good enough for them. The maker-creator arena. It's more of and that's not all of it. But the biggest issue is the growth in home ownership. As the market's recovered and exploding in the past couple of years, a lot more people are buying houses. People who buy houses immediately go out and buy tools. Which is where, in the building of houses, if you notice, house building has exploded again. There were a lot of empty lots that had been started on construction and then just kind of laid vacant for years. Well, they're starting those back up, and then you got professionals, and that's why Home Depot is beating Lowe's, because Home Depot caters to the professional as Lowe's caters to the homeowner. The new Pittsburgh Dual Flex ratchet. I haven't tried that one. I use the one that's got the extending handles so you can get a little bit more torque on it. And then I also have one of the Harbor Freight torque wrenches. Let's see what else we got here. Yes, if you can scan it, it flies. Heck, even if you can give them a number, if they can type a number in, they're usually pretty good about it. You did a great job on the DeWalt history video. Thanks. I enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun. I'm planning to do a Milwaukee video next. So we'll do the history of Milwaukee, if you will. Let's see here. What else? Other people have asked me to do Woolworths and who else? There was some other stores. Oh, I was thinking about doing Porter Cable. That's a sale. Porter Cable, man. That used to be a great line of hand tools. Well, all of them. Black & Decker. A lot of people didn't realize Black & Decker used to actually make really good tools. You know who made really high-end professional tools? Ryobi. Yeah, people are amazed when they see some of the older professional Ryobi stuff. Harbor Freight has responded with better quality in the last 5 years. Yeah, they're trying to get into what they call the prosumer market. There's a lot more margin in those. I like their higher end, or I should say, I like their low end prosumer stuff. Their Bauer stuff and the Pierce and whatnot. Their high end, I mean not Pierce. What's the other one? I forgot their new nailer. But their high end prosumer stuff just gets so close and butts heads with the really well known brand name stuff that unless they start putting out a high end or a comprehensive warranty with it, there's just no justification to jump ship with somebody like Rigid. Rigid gives you a lifetime warranty on the tools. So why would I buy a Hercules, let's say, when I could buy a Rigid and get a lifetime warranty on it rather than a 90-day warranty? It just doesn't make any common sense. Yes, it's sad to see Sears go. In fact, I just had a friend of ours let me know that they're closing the Kmart down the way, and yeah. So, and I mentioned, Sears, Kmart's and Sears are the same company, so go figure. Somebody posted a comment like, I shouldn't put out rumors like Sears is closing. I'm like, it's not a rumor. It's economic insight. It's forecasting. It's not a rumor. I didn't hear somebody whisper to the bear, "Oh, they're going to close," but they haven't told anybody. No, this is just looking at the numbers. Their stock dipped below $2. It gets below $1, they get delisted. They get delisted, and that's it. That's game over. Best, let me see. Phillips had Sears last week. Gear wrench. Convinced them to switch it with another set. That's good. The best router I own is a Stanley H23. Oh yeah, there's some of the old routers are amazing. We found a great little router going through my wife's father's stuff. Who was it? It was I can't remember who it was. Rockwell, one of the old Rockwell ones. There's another zombie brand. Rockwell back in the day was some excellent equipment, and these days it's super cheap. But we found this great little Rockwell router, and somebody managed to knock it off a table and break the disc off on it. Don't make it. I had a lot of people saying, "Wow, I didn't realize that DeWalt was a zombie brand, and maybe I should reevaluate Milwaukee." I got bad news for you. All of the brands are pretty much zombie brands these days. There's little to no connection between what Milwaukee is today and what Milwaukee used to be. The Pierce nailers, love them. Yeah, they seem great. Still sad the Blockbuster video closed. Yeah, I can still remember on a Friday or Saturday night, with the buddies going down to Blockbuster and perusing movies and, hitting up on the cute girls behind the desk. And, it was, that was an evening going out and seeing you see all your friends there and stuff because they're all doing the same thing. Yeah, I don't think Sears is trying. I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, they keep saying that that he's going to put all this money into it, and that's Eddie Lambert, that he's going to put more money into Sears, and I don't see the exit scenario where Sears comes around the other end of this bend, and they haven't put any money to invest in the stores. It's the same problem that Toys R Us had, where the stores got old and not kept up to date, and they just looked old and dirty and run down, and people don't want to shop there. People don't want to shop at a store that looks old, like it hasn't been cared for. So you're not going to get people back in the stores that way. Kmart Costa Mesa was first there in '65. The store's still there. The worst floor tile. The Sears, they're closing the Sears in November. Yeah, they're closing a bunch of them. As I said, they were at just was it 555, I think, in January, and they're going to be well under 400 by the end of this month. Western Auto. I don't know anything about Western Auto. I haven't even seen a Western Auto. Are they out here? It's opening a Sears hometown store. Really? I don't know. There was a great article, and I can't remember what, it was one of the trade mags, the tool trade mags. I was reading about this guy who started a store repairing tools, and people were stunned. Like, you can repair these things? I'm talking about like power tools and stuff. And he repairs all the like the big name, you know, Milwaukee and DeWalt and Makita and all that stuff. And apparently he's making money hand over fist doing it. It seems like if you're the kind of guy who likes to get in there, those kind of things, and dig through those kind of electronics and switches and stuff, you could make a good money apparently these days opening up a repair store, because they don't repair anything. They just send it back, tear it down from parts, and rebuild. Haven't seen me do too much on Rigid. Wow, apparently you haven't seen my older videos. Rigid is my go-to tool. In fact, I used to have Rigid tools until whatchamacallit, Lowe's, the Cobalt sent me their line of tools to try out. And I'm honestly thinking about switching back. I like the Cobalt stuff. It's great. There's just not enough selection there. And I don't know whether they're going to be keeping them around. My contact there doesn't want to seem to get back to me about anything, so I think I'm going to switch back to Rigid. But Rigid, when people ask me like, hey, I'm just getting started, I need a set of tools, what should I get? I say invest in Rigid. You know, they're middle of the road. They're good enough for your average Joe. They're good enough to be used on a work site. They've got a lifetime warranty, including the batteries, at least the batteries you buy when you buy it with a tool. Now, granted, you do have to cross your T's and dot your I's. You get it? You need to fill out the warranty card. You need to set up a folder and make sure when you buy it, all your purchase information and your proof of purchase goes in that folder. But, lithium batteries, they have a limited, shelf life. So, if you're doing this all the time, there's just for the batteries alone, it's worth it to go with Rigid. And they're great tools. A lot of their tools end up being, top of the line, when compared to everyone else. Their impact drivers are great. I love them. Hold on, let me catch up with some of these comments. Let's see here. Kmart in Gaylord, Michigan was doing so bad at 2 p.m. you can roll bowling balls down the aisle. Yeah, I've seen that. So many people are commenting about it. Like, they'd walk into a store, there wasn't anyone there, you couldn't even find somebody to pay for something. In fact, we ran into that. When we were in a Sears to buy something specific a few years ago, and we had to hunt somebody down just to pay for it. Does Lowe's have available shelf space for the Craftsman tool? I don't know what they're going to do with the Craftsman. I don't understand why Sears... I mean, I get that they want them. It's a good name. It's got a good brand, loyalty behind it and stuff. But, Black & Decker owns DeWalt, which is their high-end tool. They own Porter Cable, which is their middle of the road, their competitor to, like, Rigid. They own Black & Decker, which is their competitor to Ryobi. So where does Craftsman fit on that scale? Are they trying to fit in a fourth flavor in there somewhere? It feels a lot like GM having Buick and Oldsmobile. And you're like, isn't that kind of the same thing? They're not Cadillacs, but they're not Chevys either. So at least with Plymouth, they were kind of like the performance version of Oldsmobile. Does Lowe's have... Okay, wait. Harbor Freight tool truck. That could happen. Boy, Josh, you just came up with $1 billion idea, man. A Harbor Freight tool truck. That is a great idea. Man, park right next to the Snap-on truck and just make fun of them. Catcalling them. That'd be hilarious. Okay, so rigid plumbing stuff. Rigid plumbing stuff is amazing. Here's the deal. Rigid is one of these old school brands that's been around, since your grandfather, your great grandfather, long time. A real professional tool line. But the rigid power tools that we see at Home Depot and stuff are not made by the same people who make the professional tools. Emerson bought rigid years and years ago. I'm giving you guys a sneak peek into the rigid video. So Emerson bought rigid, and they made some tools for a while. They made some great tools, actually. They made the table saw and the bandsaw, some really good tools. And eventually they got tired of doing the consumer stuff, so they've outsourced that through contract to TTI, the same guys who own and make Milwaukee and Ryobi. So TTI makes rigid, but they don't own rigid. Emerson still owns that, but they're not made and they're not managed by the same team that does all the professional plumbing stuff. That's why you can tell that there's a real, level up in quality when it goes to the rigid plumbing stuff. That's some really high end, and high end as well as price too, not just quality. Hello, people. Phillips Bordeaux. Did I pronounce that? I'm really sorry, guys. If you haven't followed the channel before, you should know the Bears are really bad about pronouncing names. I'll give it a shot, but I'll probably mangle it just like a picnic basket. What if Harbor Freight opened a superstore? Maybe took over a closed down Sears location. I've seen them take over a couple Sears locations, and what they do is they chop the stores in half, and then the other half of the store gets rented out to someone else. Many Sears stores I've seen are attached to a mall. Malls in general. Philip with the super chat. Where's my bell? My super chat bell. Ooh, that's loud. All right, and the $1.99. Good job. All right, where we? Many Sears stores I've seen attached to the mall are generally dead. Yeah, malls are having a hard enough time as it is, and the rent at malls is much higher than it is at, like, say, a strip mall or a standalone store. So, yeah, the malls themselves are having a hard time. So if a mall's doing bad and you got an anchor store that's doing bad, it's just bad for everyone. My dad bought my first deer rifle at Western Auto, really. I was going to say Sears. Cobalt's a distant cousin of Snap-on. Is it really? I'll have to look into that. I want to be a Harbor Freight tool truck driver. Man, that'd be kind of fun. And he brought up the lawnmower brands the way it is anymore. I don't get that. Maybe I missed something there. I've always built my tool collections over the years from many places. Yeah, I'm like that. If there's one tool that I specifically like, I don't mind mixing and matching brands. I don't believe in brand loyalty. I won't buy something just because it's a brand. That's like, I reserve that kind of stuff for football teams. That's the kind of thing where you're not supposed to have any sense behind it. You're just supposed to have fun and be a fan. That's what sports teams are for, and not taking your brain out of the box, setting it over on the table, and having a beer and relaxing. But when it comes to tools and stuff for my family, whether it's cars or tools or anything, I do a lot of research and I figure out what the best thing is to get, and that's what I buy. I don't sit there and go, well, it's black and yellow, so it must be good. If any of you've seen my review of the DeWalt sander, I was pissed at that thing. $60-$70 for a basic sander, it's ridiculous. But if somebody said they were going to buy the DeWalt sliding miter saw, that's not a bad buy. It's a great tool. But I think there may be a better selection out there, but not much of a better one. As I've often said, I'm brand agnostic. You got to earn it. Yeah, I don't just say like, oh, well, I bought this one tool and it was great, so I'm going to buy the rest of their tools. Let's see here. Rigid pipe threader. Along my great. Oh, wow. Yeah, those are worth money, man. You still see those in the back of a pickup truck going down the highway. I see them all the time. They'll have them bolted to the bed of the pickup truck. Sometimes. A lot of times, you have removable so you can set up at the workshop or work site or whatnot. Princess Auto. Princess Auto is essentially the Harbor Freight of Canada. They do have, a better selection, I think, but I've never actually been to one. But I've seen their website, and I've seen some videos of them. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. No, yeah. It's those people who are like, yeah, DeWalt's the best thing ever. It's like you sound like you're part of a cult. If you can't say, hey, these things are great, but this one tool they make is a piece of junk. If that hurts for you to say that, to admit it, like somehow you're losing, then you're not thinking right. What was the worst tool and best tool you ever had for a certain job? Oh, geez. Wow. The worst tool. Oh, I was just. You know what? The Harbor Freight corded circular saw. I killed that thing just cutting down 3/4 inch plywood. Working on one project, it was. Man, you could smell it as you cut with it. It was cooking it. It was fighting it. I had a Ryobi cordless that beat it hands down, and I was so disappointed in that tool. By comparison, the best tool I've had for that job, the Rigid Gen 5X cordless 18 volt circular saw. That thing it's got a nice thick foot plate on it. The ergonomics are great, and it's got such good power. It's just so smooth cutting through those things. What are your thoughts on the average home DIY buying tools on multiple battery platforms? Yeah, that's one I struggle with a lot, because there's so many Ryobi tools that I actually like, but I'm not a big fan of a lot of their tools. So there's not a tool system out there that I'm 100% happy with. And I've looked, so if you don't know, I'm big into 3D printing and makers and stuff like that. I've even tried making adapters for a lot of the battery systems to see if I could adapt a battery to work on multiple devices. And with some of the cheaper stuff you can, but the higher end stuff has got chips in it that will lie to you or will basically tell on you. And because if it can't talk to the tool and register the tool that it's the right tool, it won't work even if you have the pins and everything else correct. So I get real frustrated in that. I think that's why I recommend Rigid for the quality and the lifetime warranty. Ryobi is great for the versatility and the amount of tools they have, especially if you're a homeowner, because they have so many home and garden stuff. They have the lawnmowers, the weed whackers, the blowers, everything else. There's just so many tools they have, but there's so much stuff they have that's just junk. They've got a garage door opener that takes one of their batteries. Why do I need to dedicate a whole rechargeable battery to my garage door opener just to make sure it doesn't lose its memory? It's idiotic. One size fits all box wrench is the worst thing I ever had. Yeah, I've had some of those gimmicky kind of tools that never quite worked right. I try them just to see if I can get a shortcut. Now I've got one of those all-in-one ratchets. It's the ratchet head, or I should say it's the socket head that's got all the pins in it. You can use it on a bunch of different ones. They die after a while, but they're so usable without having to go and dig through the box to get other ones. If I was a mechanic and I was doing this for a living, no, I wouldn't use one of these. But for around the house, because I have a set of tools. I keep my tools for my shop in the garage. And those are my shop tools. And then I have a smaller subset I keep for stuff around the house, because I don't want to run out in the garage and dig through all my tools just to find this one little thing. So I got a lot of those little universal stuff for just around the house. Blew it up, started smoking to catch fire. Oh my God. Yeah, it did start smoking. It did not catch fire. Boy, you want to talk about catching fire. Any of you guys fans of Hoovie's Garage? The channel where he buys, or at least he used to buy a bunch of cheap cars, and now he's buying more expensive cars. He called it his Hoopty fleet, and over the years, as he's gotten more and more money from the channel, he's upgraded his cars. He bought a Ferrari about 4 months ago. It just burned to the ground. Oh, there's an amazing video. If you want to watch a Ferrari burning all the way down to the tires, that's a great video for it. I hate to say this, but it needs all electrode to have a standard. Yeah, it'd be nice if they would have a standard plug on these things so you could switch and stuff, but I don't think that's going to happen. You broke the screwdrivers by taking them out of the package. I haven't seen that. That would be good. There's some of the really, really cheap stuff at Harbor Freight that, yeah, I could see that happening. I tend not to buy the super cheap stuff. Although I have been collecting a box full of all the freebie items. I was planning to do a video where I unbox and review every single free item that Harbor Freight... Well, sorry about that, guys. But every single free item that Harbor Freight gives away. So I needed to do that. Yeah, exactly, Josh. Those Ryobi, I mean, it's, as a homeowner, it's hard not to like that system. The gator socket, yeah. Poor Ferrari, yeah. Yeah, that was, oh, it was a pretty little thing, too. Well, yeah, you can use it for, I wouldn't use it on my lug nuts. That's a bit much for it. That's a good way to break it. Yeah, if Tavares buys that, that'll be a hoot. I'm talking about the Ferrari again. Oh, there's Jack. How's it going, Jack? I wasn't expecting to see you. It's up past your bedtime, isn't it? Take care, man. Sorry we had to go so late. Hopefully we'll... going forward, his practices are going to be on Tuesday and Wednesday, I think. Hold on. Bear.
Yeah.
Tuesday and Wednesday for practice, football?
Yeah.
Tuesday. Sorry, Tuesday and Thursday. See, the Bear's tired already. Tuesday and Thursday. So, wouldn't work. Great avatar you have there. What avatar? What does he mean, avatar? I don't get what you mean. Lose one, gain one, yeah. Where did the sun go? Yeah, hey Michael, how's it going? Yeah, it's boy, it's been a hectic week and all. I had a guy actually fly out from Texas to look at the caddy. It's just talking about how crazy this week's been. So that I had a bunch of people actually, for some reason, I don't know what's going on in the water or something, but I had a bunch of people contact me this weekend about buying that Cadillac of mine I got to sell. We just need the space, and we got some medical bills with the Cub and all, and so it needs to go. And so this guy had contacted me on Thursday or Friday saying that he was serious, he was interested, he was going to fly out, take a look at it. So I told these people, like, well, hold off, and I'm not going to, I don't normally hold it for somebody, but he's flying in from out of town, so I'm going to hold it for him. And yeah, now I don't think it's going to go in Cadillac Ranch. I wouldn't sell it to him if it was. But he flies in to Vegas, spends the night at the Circus, which I was like, when he said that, I was like, oh God, please no. But he got a cheap deal there, and he said he was fine with it and stuff. Comes out the next day. We spend, a couple hours driving around, looking at it. He makes me a cash offer on it. I was asking $65, which is when I got into it. All right. I got it from my next door neighbor, an older guy. He gave me a sweetheart deal, but I had to go and get a title reissued and get get some basic work done to it. It needed to get the gas tank cleaned and the gas pump rebuilt, because you can't buy replacement parts for any of that stuff. It's all the first gen digital kind of things. It's a fabulous car, man. I always get compliments on it, people stopping me and whatnot, screaming at me, "Is that a caddy?" Silly girl. But anyway, he comes out, he takes a look at it, he loves it. He comes out at $5,500. I'm like, look, dude, I already said, I came down off of the original asking price to $65. You know what? You flew all the way out here. I'll do you. You're a nice guy. I'll do you a solid. I'll do $6,000, but that's where I'm at. He comes up to $57. I said, well, I'll go to $6,000 on it. It's $58. I'll do $6,000. I said, you can ask me 8 more times. It's still going to be $6,000. Honestly, at that point, my wife's going to shoot me anyway, because I told her I wasn't going to lose any money on the car. And here I am losing $500. I'm like, I'm not going to go any lower. I could sell it locally for this price. The guy's like, for $200, he's like, well, let me think about it. And then he just disappears. And I get a message saying today, this was yesterday, I get a message today saying, I've decided not to buy it. And I left you a voicemail yesterday. I'm like, well, I got a voicemail 20 minutes ago from you saying that you weren't buying it. I don't know what's going on, but just weird. It's too bad. Dealing with people. Fly all the way out here and $200. I mean, I would come down. You couldn't meet me halfway on the price. Anyway, I'm not frustrated at all. I'll just relist it, and if I want to go that low, I can sell it to someone around here. And then plus the kids, they're starting school and getting them into sports and everything, and homework. Oh, man, why do they got to make math so complicated these days? Anyway, let's get back to tools. Let's see here. Sears cashback program has served me well. They now have spend 50, get 50. Yeah, that's a way to bring a company back. Yeah, I'll be honest. I have a policy usually for lowballers. When somebody comes out and lowballs me, I'll just tell them flat out, it's no longer for sale to you. You're welcome to leave. And they'll come back and they'll be like, oh, no, doesn't hurt to ask. I'm like, well, you wasted my time. You can go home now. And they'll be like, okay, well, I'll give you your asking price. I'm like, I don't want it. I'm not going to sell it to you. You insulted me, so you can leave. And I get people, growing up all the years thinking, well, it never hurts to ask. But when you already getting a sweetheart of a deal on something that's hard to find anyway, I believe they call that looking a gift horse in the mouth. And you're just as likely to get kicked by that horse. Gas Monkey Garage. Did you see, Rich Rollins? He just trashed his, I guess it wasn't too bad. His Hellcat, he was at a drag strip, and I don't know if he'd been drinking or what, but he smoked the snot out of some street tires and then tried to launch from the tree and went right into the wall because, of course, they were smoked. They were too hot to have any kind of grip. But anyway, he probably lost the money at Circus. Man, what a horror. Man, if any of you come to town and you don't know where to stay, hit the bear up. All right. I felt so bad. He's telling me that he got a sweetheart deal and got a room for $100 a night. $100 a night on a Monday night in Vegas should get you a suite. I've stayed at most of the hotels in Vegas. When we first moved here, I didn't have any office space. And so when I had to do conference calls or something, I would go and I'd rent a hotel room for the day or for the night. And then I could sit there and I could use like an office, and I got to know every single one. My favorite is I can get the Cleopatra suite at the Luxor. It's a 2-bedroom, 1,200 square foot suite with a view of Mandalay Bay for $90 a night during the middle of the week. Luxor is an older hotel, but Circus is like, oh my gosh, there's drug deals in the stairwells. There's crack addicts hanging out at back. It's a bad place, man. Circus at one time was a fun family kind of place. It's just a trashy mess right now. And don't even get me started about the one in Reno. The people at Luxor took good care of the wife and I. Yeah, they're nice. The Luxor is cool. It's different, and it's a real kind of middle of the road, average kind of person casino, but it's still got some flash and it's exciting and stuff. And you're just a short walk over from Mandalay Bay, which by my account is the best casino in town. It's got a great casino. It's got it's beautiful. It's got the Shark Tank exhibit. They've got the best pool. They got a wave pool and a lazy river and a beach and all that stuff. That's where the Barrett Jackson auction is every year. There's lots of great stuff going on there. So, yeah, no doubt. It was bigger than my first apartment in San Francisco. That's for my first 2 or 3 apartments, I think. That's for sure. But it's I did it the first time I got it. I got it for my for one night for the conference call, and when I walked into the room, I saw it. I immediately went down and booked it for 3 more nights, and we did a special getaway for the family. A staycation in town. My wife walked in, and she's like, "How much did you pay for this?" And then when I told her, she's like, "Oh, you're a god." I'm like, "Yes, yes, I am." Oh, Pawn Stars. Hi, man. You'll be bummed if you go to the Pawn Stars shop. It's all just a tourist trap these days. But yeah, if you guys come to town, hit me up. I'd be happy to come down and meet you guys and have a shot of whiskey or something. I don't gamble much these days. I play a little poker here and there. I might play, like I said, at the bar, have a drink, and maybe play a little video poker. But I don't gamble big time anymore. Too old for that. I got cubs and a wife who will shoot me. How are the DaBEAR handheld bandsaws? What do you think? I love them for $100. If you go through my old videos, I've got one. Now, they used to call them the Chicago Electric. They're the same thing. They just rebranded them. They're the exact same tool. I put one next to the old one next to the new one. They're exactly the same. They just changed the color on the plastic, made it a little bit more red, and put the DaBEAR name on it. But I cut through I had to take down an old, basketball hoop with a pole like 4-inch, steel pipe on it. Oh, hot knife through butter. Thing was amazing. I was going to use my Sawzall, and I just got this thing. And that was using the stock blade that came with it that said it's for wood and not for metal. I'd heard that it did fine with metal also, so I thought I'd try it. I've cut steel. I've cut aluminum. I've cut, what else? I've cut copper. I've done detail cuts. They're great. And I have a whole video where I did a little knockdown table so you can turn it into a vertical bandsaw for small detail work with a foot pedal. It's really good. I like them. One guy, I will say, I've had one person who said that they had it for a year and the wheel broke on it. And he sent me pictures and it looked bad. But he's the only person I've ever heard who had problems with it. I even did a shout out to ask if other people had similar problems, and I had not one person say something. So it sucks when you're the guy who gets the one odd one out that breaks, but for the most part, I haven't heard anything but good things about them, and I love mine. Best time to go to Vegas. It depends on what you wanted to do. If you want to see all the craziness that is Vegas and have it in its complete just crazy, amazing. Or actually, say this: if you want to spend time outside and go swimming and be in the desert in the heat, the summer is the high season for Vegas. But be warned, it's going to be stupid hot. We're talking 110 to 120 kind of hot, and the pools and stuff close pretty much at 6 or 7 because they don't want you hanging out late at the pool. They want you in the casino gambling. Also be aware that if you come in the winter, you will not be hanging out at the pool. It can get cold in Vegas. It can get into the 30s. We're kind of high desert here. So don't expect you're going to show up in January with your swimsuit because, all the pools are outdoors. Very few places have indoor pools here. But if you come, Christmas time is amazing and crazy. January, there's a bunch of trade shows in January. There's SHOT Show. There's the CES, which is an amazing show. Which means maybe you don't want to be here when the crowds are here. In which case, come in September. September's a great time. School's starting. So, all the families aren't here. It's not quite as hot as it normally is, but it's still plenty warm to go swimming and such. So either in May as the summer's heating up and the kids are still in school. So that's my 2 cents. Let's see here. Last camp I did was Fort Hunter. Yeah, for Navy Reserves. Went in January. It was great for touring. Yeah. And if you're a shooter, check out Battlefield Vegas. If you haven't seen the video I have where the wife and I went down there, we'll do these little day dates once we drop the kids off at school, and we'll go out and do something touristy. And we went down there and shot some automatic rifles and such. But they've got a minigun you can shoot. Oh, I haven't done that yet, but I want to try it. Enough desert camping in Iraq. Yeah, I don't know. Desert camping, actually, I'll say this. I'm fine with desert camping. I can do it all day long because I have a 34-foot RV. So desert camping for me is not exactly roughing it. I got 2 slide outs, 2 air conditioning units, 5,500 marquee gold generator. If I have to rough it, I do it in style. Yeah, no cloud cover. Yeah, once night hits, that's the thing is later in the fall you'll have these days where it's 100 plus, and in the evening it drops into the 40s. Boy, what a swing. Go to the local shows and the Battlefield store. Hey, yeah, and one thing to check out, there is a half-price tickets thing here. There's a couple different pavilions around town. You can't order in advance or over the phone. You have to show up. And so the best thing to do is not get set as to what show you want to see. Just show up and be like, what show is on sale today? And you can literally get half or less off of any of the big shows. The Cirque shows, the big Broadway style shows, even the concerts and stuff. So your son and I came last July, couldn't take the heat. Oh my gosh. Had the AC in the hotel. What hotel did you stay at where it could only get down to 75? Most of the hotels, man, the ACs are monsters. Because they got those big glass windows, so they got to cool them like nobody's business. Taking a plane ride through the canyon. Yeah, man. You want to see something cool is head down to the airport about 9 o'clock every morning, and you'll see a fleet of helicopters taking off. It's like that scene out of, what's that old Vietnam era movie? Where is it? Where Charlie don't surf. Apocalypse Now. You just see helicopter flying off. Moving to Carson City from Costa Mesa. Carson City is a great little town. We've got some relatives that live up there, and we've been through there a few times, and it's just a great, cute little town. You're within spitting distance of Reno and Tahoe, and Tahoe is one of my 2 favorite places on earth. Lake Tahoe is this beautiful, amazing 30-mile long alpine lake up in the mountains, and my other favorite place is St. Thomas in the Caribbean. So it's either like water in my mountains or mountains in my water. That's my 2 choices. If I was filthy rich, I'd have a house in each and fly back and forth. Yeah, Apocalypse Now, that's it. Eltico Lips Now. Sure, okay. Someone using voice to text there? I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, some other good budget places to stay. If you don't have to be right on the strip, the Rio, it's a little older and stuff, but everything there is a suite. They have a really nice set of pools out back. There's some great restaurants and buffets there. It's good middle of the road kind of thing. And you can see Penn Teller. Penn Teller are a hoot, man. And they even come out after the show. They come out in the lobby after the show and they shake hands and everything. I got to meet him. Got a picture with Teller. He talks. He does. He can talk. I was amazed when he opened his mouth to say hi. I was like dumbstruck. I thought maybe he was mute or something. Mute. Anyway. Army ranks suck, but the Air Force is a continuous beauty pageant. Yeah. Somebody asked me recently if I served, and I did not, so to speak. I was born into the U.S. Army, U.S. 7th Army, West Germany. And by the time I came around for me, I was 18, and I almost joined the Navy. I wanted to fly, but I was pretty tall, and it really limited what I could fly. And all my relatives who had all served told me not to, that basically the military at that time, this was the early, I guess, mid-'80s, and that it was just, there was a bunch of political BS going on with the whole, it was the beginning of the whole, what do you call it? You can't yell at people, I'm just falling down, PC kind of stuff, the political correctness. And they were downsizing and shutting down bases everywhere. I thought, well, I'll go to school, I'll get my degree, which I never did finish that either. I taught myself computers, and somebody offered me a bunch of money, and I went, huh, money? But anyway, my grandfather was in Marine Air Corps. My great grand aunt was a WAC. My father was in the Army. My brother-in-law is currently a Marine. Who else is there? We have another uncle who is commander in the Navy, an aunt who was commander in the Navy. I actually thought about doing Coast Guard for a while because I was thinking about going into law enforcement, but at the time I was making too much money in computers and I just couldn't justify basically cutting my salary by 3/4. Kind of wish I'd done it, but life takes you on a journey, right? What was I gonna say? Oh, my brother-in-law, who's the Marine, sent me one of these pics it's got, was it life as a Marine, and they're like sleeping in a trench filled with mud, and then you got life as in the Army, and they're all in their barracks and nice little cots, and they got life in the Navy, and they're in like a kiddie pool on deck of a aircraft carrier, and they got life in the Air Force, and they're checking into a Hyatt. I always get a kick out of that pic. Managed to annoy an Air Force staffer once require the PX of the BIP too. They didn't like that. Hold on, let me catch up. Let's see if I missed anything. Army brat. Yeah, that was me. Heidelberg, West Germany. Back when there was a West. Next to Reno. Oh. Reno has, if you like water stuff, Reno redid their downtown area, the river down there, and turned it into like a water park kind of thing. That's amazing. We have so much fun there. They got maid service nice. When I lived in Kentucky, was I a Kentucky fan? Nope, sorry. I went to University of Cincinnati. I was a Bearcats fan. Get it? Bearcats? Boy, our football team was horrible back then. They've gotten so much better, but back then it was like, every game was like, we lost to Penn State 44-0 or something like that. We always got mangled. A former CB, that's cool. Yeah, and in fact, all my kids are talking about what armed service they want to go into. The oldest cub, he wants to be a fly boy, so he might go Air Force if he can get his grades up. He's got to get he's doing better. I take that back. He had been struggling in math until last year, and he got a really good teacher who basically kind of clued him in and really got him on track with math. And now he's doing some advanced math stuff, so he may do it. Army Navy football game. The Air Coast Guard pinball match. But man, I gotta tell you, I'm as a sailor, I love to sail. Every time I see one of those Coast Guard cutters go by, I'm like, oh, that's such a pretty little thing. Even their helicopters are pretty, man. What's going on with my animation? Who turned off my animation? There it is. I think it's getting too dark here. It can't see me. There we go. What did I do in IT? Well, that's a long story. I taught myself how to build computers. I like to tear things apart. Computers were just another thing to tear into and figure out how it all works and try and put it together with as few leftover parts as possible. Bunny! Here's Bunny. How's it going? And so I taught myself computers, and I got hired as a help desk person, second tier help desk. And I was like, I don't really know that much. And they said, here's the key to help desk. You just have to know more than the person that you are helping. And it's really true. And I learned in doing help desk, there's basically a couple different, fields you can go into computing. You're either a programmer, you're a hardware person, or you're a network person. I did some programming, but I knew I was never going to be a hardcore programmer. And I knew I didn't want to just be some guy stuck in a corner working on hardware. So I taught myself networking stuff, and I became a network engineer. I eventually got MCSE certified, Cisco, Citrix. I was a CCNA, what's a CCA? I can't remember the Citrix one. CIA. CAI. Anyway, I had a whole bunch of acronyms and stuff. And then I moved into management, and I even taught Cisco trading classes for a while. And then I moved into operations, and eventually I ran a video game company. So, go figure. In Silicon Valley, no less. That's how I ended up in California. I went to San Francisco back in 2000 for vacation. Went for 2 weeks just to have fun. And my wife at the time posted my resume on Monster without me knowing about it. I was so not happy with her. And she tells me this as we're getting on the airplane. And when I landed, I had something like 45 voicemails of people wanting interviews with me. And I literally spent almost the entire vacation interviewing for jobs. And by the end of it, somebody made me a stupid amount, basically doubled my salary. And then the company that owned that company also owned the largest apartment company in San Francisco. So I got my choice of, deluxe apartments in the sky. It was a lot for a Midwest bear to take in. It was pretty cool, though. Of course, that all imploded with the rest of the .com industry, but which is when I jumped ship and went to video games, because that's still going strong. Let's see, your Common Core. I didn't want to talk about Common Core. I hate that stuff. They couldn't just leave math at math. Let's see here. What else we got here? Had a friend who worked at the zoo there, lived next. In Reno? Or in San Francisco. I used to live next to the zoo in San Francisco. Some might say I escaped the zoo in San Francisco. CB, give respect for that. Yeah, that's some hard work, man. Ex-Army pushing. They did careful. Spoiled. With Coast Guard, at least they don't chrome plate the M2s. Culinary Institute, the CIA company. Hey, I think the Culinary Institute was in San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. Man, I'm having a hard time with my animation today. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, guys. Pretty good at acquisitions and drinking. Harbor Freight contacted you about... Has Harbor Freight contacted me about sending tools for you to test and release? No, Harbor Freight won't even return an email to me. I think I've gotten on Harbor Freight's do not call list. Somebody at Harbor Freight doesn't like me. I have a few people who've contacted me through, shall we say, backdoor channels. It's almost like they don't want to officially know me, but they'll unofficially tell me stuff. So it seems kind of a shame considering how many Harbor Freight fans come to this channel. A lot of people think that I work for Harbor Freight. We cover so much stuff, and all the hardcore Harbor Freight people come here for information. You'd think that Harbor Freight would want to work with us, but I guess they're too good for a bear like me. Quite a resume. You don't know the half of it. I've had so many different jobs and stuff. I've always been the kind of person, like, if I want to do something, I just figure out how to do it. I've been a CCW instructor, that's concealed carry weapons permit instructor in California, no less. I'm a self-published author. In fact, for a while, I was one of the top 100 published authors on Amazon when they first started their publishing service. What else have I done? There are a couple other small businesses that I've started up and sold off, and I ran a paint touch-up service for automobiles when I was 18. I started up that company. I sold that one. Just, life's a smorgasbord, and I want to try it all. Well, I think that's the problem, Josh. They don't want honest, non-BS answers. They want you to say that everything that comes out of Harbor Freight is pure as gold and has not a flaw at all. Oh, Steve, yeah. If you're not subscribed to Steve Ramsey, you're missing out. He's the guy who got me into using the Torx head screws for all, switching over to all those for all my projects. And oh, thank goodness I did that. They're so much better than Phillips. People switched from slot head to Phillips for a reason. Now we have these, Torx head screws out there, the T25s or whatever. I don't know why anybody uses a Phillips. It's They're just that much better. And Steve Ramsey's got a lot of great stuff. He's over, he's in California. He's down in, what is it? Where the Santa Cruz, I think. He's in the Santa Cruz area. And their engineers' tools don't stink. I just wish Harbor Freight had, like Northern Tools got one of those stools that's got the back on it. I wish they had a stool like that at Harbor Freight. I would love to have one of those. Yeah, that's a lot of people like to comment on the channel. All this Chinesium stuff sucks. Blah blah blah. That's more of that BS. Well, if any American, and they're the same people who say buy American, buy DeWalt. I'm like, DeWalt isn't made in America. It's assembled in America, and they're not. They're about as bright as a 40-watt bulb, and you need to understand that America just doesn't have the kind of capacity for manufacturing. We don't have that middle level manufacturing capacity, so we can't supply parts to part manufacturers to the main manufacturers. Yeah, we can do the top level assembly, but we can't do that mid-tier stuff. You need a whole ecology of manufacturing to go along with it, and we just don't have it. We could not say we couldn't build it, but it would take 20 years. And tariffs. You'd have to have tariffs. Without tariffs, it's just too cheap to ship stuff to China, have them build it, and ship it back. Power Pro screws rock. Yeah, man. There's just no two ways about it. And if you're just doing stuff around the house, if you're not a professional where you're counting every half cent, then not going with coated deck screws for everything is just ridiculous, because if there's any chance it's going to see any kind of moisture or weather, or you just want it to last a long time, why not spend, $7 on a box of screw rather than $6 and get them coated, get the T25 heads, and know that the screws are going to last and they're not going to torque off on you. You're not going to snap them in half. And, the cost difference just isn't really there, if you look at it per screw, per project kind of thing. He's in Marin? Really? He commutes because I know he used to teach at UC Santa Cruz? I used to live in Marin. Son of a bitch. Maybe I might live near him. That's too funny. I had a 27-foot sailboat on a house that was on stilts over the water in Marin. Man, that was one of the best places I ever lived. If it wasn't for the government and the politics, I'd stay there. Then the price was so expensive. Oh my gosh, that place is expensive. Some Snap-on is made in China. Oh, I know. A lot of the Snap-on is made in China. Crypto's Hangout. Hey there, how's it going? What's the new Harbor Freight compressor line? Well, so far they only have the one out. That's the new one that I've seen. But if you saw the recent ad, they are blown through all their old, the standard black compressors. I think there's something new coming around the corner. Basically, anytime Harbor Freight runs sale after sale after sale, they're clearing out stock and getting ready to replace it. I think the air compressors are going to be the next big new line of tools to get launched. They released the one small one, but I think there's going to be a whole bunch of them. And I'm really sad to say, I think they're all going to be oilless. Which, I mean, yeah, if we're talking like California Air, those super quiet, expensive ones, they're great. They last forever because they put a bunch of money into the engineering of them. Yeah, and those, sure, you can do oilless. But on your standard air compressor, yeah, not so much. Planning to tear down. Oh, you should do a video. I want to see a teardown on one of those. His kid's going to Santa Cruz. The banana slugs. The Santa Cruz banana slugs. The Porter Cable 60-gallon air tank. Great air. Those are the ones they sell those. Where do they sell those? I think they sell them at Lowe's, and I've seen them at Tractor Supply. I've heard mixed things. I'm glad yours is working out for you. See, the new brands, Harbor Freight brand is covered under the 25% coupons. Yeah, all the new brands that Harbor Freight is launching, all these new prosumer brands, they're all falling under that coupon ban. You're not going to be able to get any of the prosumer stuff with their super coupons, and that kind of sucks. Yeah, Tractor Supply. Yep. I'm surprised that Harbor Freight hasn't come out with an upgraded table saw. I'm desperate for it. Hey, if you saw my video that I did a video about the Hercules saw. Harbor Freight, okay, let me step back. Harbor Freight released a video on YouTube about the new Hercules sliding miter saw. And I did a video review of their video because there's a couple sneak peeks in there where they revealed in the back of the truck as he's pulling it out, you can see a Hercules job site table saw. So I know for a fact that somewhere there is a Hercules job site table saw getting ready to get released. When they're going to release it, I don't know. But if you check out that video, you can see a couple pics of it. Yeah, it doesn't have them listed yet, but they're in the computer. So anytime you try to use it, they'll try and tell you no. You have to politely throw a fit and ask for a manager, and they'll do an override usually. If they don't do an override at that, then you need to find a different store to go to, because if it's not on there, they have to honor it. That's just the facts. What's the price point? Yeah, that's a good question, Bunny. And odds are they're going to price it like 5% below the DeWalt or the Rigid, which are the two big job site saws right now. And honestly, now they did start offering, I don't know if you guys saw that, they did start offering with that sliding miter saw, the Hercules one, they started offering a 1-year warranty. They even stated as a 1-year no questions asked warranty. Now, if they do that, that would be amazing. Actually, I wouldn't say that it would be amazing. It would be okay. I'd like to see a 2 or 3-year warranty. If they start doing a 3-year no questions asked warranty on those Hercules products, that would be, I mean, that's how Hyundai broke into the market. Hyundai tried to get in the U.S. market once before. They came out with a nice little car that was, pretty much disposable, and they died. They were not successful. They came out with a better car, and it was still struggling. And then they launched that 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and the next thing you know, everyone's buying Hyundais. And now Hyundais are the fastest growing, Hyundai and Kia, I should say, are the fastest growing brands in the United States, because it's a good quality basic vehicle at a decent price with a killer warranty. And that's all people want. They want to know, if I pay money for it, that, it's going to last as long as it should last. And when you offer a 90-day warranty, people are just going to look at you like, why would I not go buy a Rigid that's going to give me a lifetime warranty and has been around for 100 years? I don't know. Oh. The McGraw line, the Harbor Freight one, yeah. That's the new air compressor, and that's their oilless one. I have an old, heavy Rockwell table saw I'd like to unload if you're near Iowa City. I used to be, man. I used to go over there for the Hawkeyes games when I was a little boy. In fact, I just met a guy today that went to college in Iowa City. He was a Hawkeye. But no, don't get back to the old homestead much these days. Yeah. All right, guys and gals. I'm over the clock, and the wife's giving me the eyeballs. That means it's time for the bear to go. We got some chores to do and some other stuff. So thanks for stopping by, everyone. You all take care. And as always, remember, shine on.